and sour of living with ADHD. I have ADHD. I've been doing some self-reflection over the past 6 months, and I decided to start using this as a method to inspire people. But quite honestly, every time I get up and talk about it, it's still embarrassing to me. I realize that ADHD is a mental illness. I don't even like saying that, but it is what it is, and that's what I am. So when I was a little girl, my mother had this sewing machine, and it was an antique sewing machine. It was black, and it was black, very small, and she would tell me, Peggy, don't touch my sewing machine. Now, I love my mommy, and I know the machine meant a lot to my mom. It was passed down from her grandmother, to her great-grandmother, to her grandmother, to her mother, and then to her. So one day, I hoped it would come to me, and it was just a neat little thing. You push a button on the bottom, and there's this thing on the side, and it just, the button goes, and I thought it was really cool, and my mommy wouldn't let me touch it. So, it was cool. And so one day, my mommy, she decided that she needed to go do something upstairs. And she hooked up the sewing machine and she left it on the table. And she said before she left, Peggy, don't touch the sewing machine. And like I said, I love my mommy. I wouldn't want to do anything to hurt my mommy or hurt my feelings or hurt her feelings or make her sad. But she went upstairs and the sewing machine was just sitting there. And so I walked over to the sewing machine and I looked at it, and it was really cool. And the needle, I told you, goes up and down when you turn the thing on the side. And so I just wanted to see, because it looked neat. I didn't mean to. So I turned the thing on the side and went up and down, and the red string went in and out and in. I was like, wow, that's neat. And then it had this button on the floor. And so I pushed the button and it said, my mother heard the noise. And she came running downstairs, and you know what she said? Peggy, my middle name is Janelle, and she said, Peggy, Janelle, my last name is Trusty. Trusty, I told you not to touch the sewing machine. And she looked at it and she said, you broke it. And she started to cry. And I didn't mean to make my mommy cry. It's just a sewing machine, and it was neat. And so I got a spanking. I know people don't do that much these days, but this was about 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever. It's a long time ago now. and I got a spanking. And when she was finished spanking me, she just threw the belt on the floor. And she just walked out of the room, tears still streaming down her face. And even though I was the one who'd gotten spanked, I wasn't crying because I was just like, I'm sorry. But it did not matter that I was sorry, because she couldn't see that. Because I have ADHD, and sometimes I do things without thinking. Sometimes I'm impulsive. Guilty. And I don't know what to do to fix it. But have you ever done something wrong and you felt guilty? Even if you didn't mean it, because the results of it, you felt guilty. And then maybe after that you felt afraid to do anything else because you don't want it to happen again. And you don't want anyone to know that you make these kinds of mistakes. These are the lemons that we carry in life. So then you start to feel unworthy, because you keep messing up. No matter how hard we try, no matter what you do, these are the things that we carry throughout our lives. And you don't have to have ADHD to feel these kinds of feelings. do we move past them? How do we change the trajectory of our lives so that we can stop feeling all of these things? What else do we have here? Unwanted. How do we stop feeling these things and carrying all of these lemons around? Because if we carry all these lemons around, we can't reach past them to grab anything else. So we have to be able to change our focus from our lemons to our life. Focus. Have you ever been in the cafeteria at work or somewhere, and you're glad to eat your lunch and you're happy and you're doing your thing, and then somebody comes along, some coworker, and they put their fork in your dessert. Now you were saving that dessert for later, and they just put their fork in your dessert, and they just keep talking and laughing like it's no big deal, like we're friends like that, so you can eat my food. And so what happens? They walk away, and then the rest of the entire day, you are focused on that 5-minute incident. Yeah, just that 5 minutes. You mess up an entire 24, it might even mess up your whole week. Those 5 minutes. Because that's our focus. So how do we change our focus? How do we change from looking at the positive instead of the negative? It can be hard because life is full of lots of negativity. We look at our past and we see all of the things that we have been through, the difficult things that we have experienced. I am divorced, single mom, I got 3 kids and they're all over the place. And those are the things that plague my mind. And how do I focus forward so I can, because I have goals. I want to do some stuff, you know? You have goals? You want to do some stuff. But sometimes we have to be able to let go of what we've been through and let go of those feelings so that we can push forward. So what do I have for you? What do we need to do? The first thing we need to do is we need to think about our why. Why is it that you want to make these changes in your life? So I'm saying one of the things that I want to do in my life is, okay, obviously I want to do public speaking. I think that's pretty cool, but that's the obvious one. One of the things I want to do is, let's say, I want to sing. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do with my life. I want to sing and I want to go places and I want to travel. But sometimes I have doubt because of so many things that have happened in my past. I think to myself, oh, I can't do that. But if I'm able to change my focus from the negative thing to the positive thing, then my life will change. So how will my life change? I'll feel freedom, right? I'll be able to do the things that I like. So if I can remember my why, my kids might be happier. They'll see their mom doing the things that she likes to do. And so then they will want to do the things that they like to do. Okay, that's my why. What is your why? Why is it that you want? What is your reward for doing the thing, for making the change that you need to change in your life? So the first one was what? Why? Why? Say why. Thank you. Know what your why is. The second thing, and this is one of the hardest things, how can I absolve myself and others? How can I forgive myself for the things that I have done, the things that I have allowed to happen to me in my life? How can I forgive others? How can I forgive my parents? You know, moms and dads, they do the best that we can. We do. You know, it's hard. Nobody gives us a rule book. Nobody gave them a rule book. This was like the 1970s, and my parents are just trying to figure it out. When I was diagnosed with ADHD, it was because, right. So, my mom was doing the laundry one day, and she heard a slam into the wall, and then she heard me giggle. So she said, what Peggy is doing? And then she heard it again, smacked into the wall, and you know, when I hear this story, I say to myself, oh Lord, I don't know how I made it. So she goes into the room and sees me, and what I am doing is I am running into the wall. Why are y'all laughing? wall, falling down and laughing at it and doing it again. Now, my mother was scared. She was like, oh my God, what's wrong with my baby? What am I going to do? She scooped me up in her arms and called the doctor on the phone and said, doctor, please help me. Took me to the doctors and decided that was what my problem was. Changed my diet, put me on medication, changed my diet. I haven't run into wall since, just in case you're asking. That was the only time. But the idea is that parents are young. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what our children are going to do. Your parents didn't know. They do their best. Me as a parent, there are things I did not know about my own children. And they're adults now, and they'll tell me, Mom, the footprint on the table wasn't because I put my sneaker on it, it was because I stood on it. Why do kids do stuff like that? But they're kids. And we do the best we can. We do. And so we have to find it within ourselves to absolve ourselves and those that might have hurt us. Absolve. The first one, W, it was why. And the next one was absolve. The next one, K. What do you know about yourself? What do you know? I can say, I am ADHD. Is that right? No. I have ADHD. But I am absolutely wonderful. I am magnificent. I am beautiful, even though I've been through so many things. Even though you have been through so many things. You are not what you've been through. You are not a diagnosis. That is not you. Those are not you. You can decide who you know that you are. Now there are, have you heard of limiting beliefs, right? And a limiting belief is when someone says something about you and you believe it and it holds you back. So one thing my mom said to me, and mind you, she did it because she wanted to motivate me to go on or whatever. Anyway, so what my mom said to me, people with ADHD, they never finish anything. No. So the worry was that I would never finish college. You know, I would never be able to finish a book. I would never be able to finish anything. But I have proved that wrong. I not only finished school, I have a bachelor's degree and 2 master's degrees. I've written multiple books. There are lots of things that I have done to overcome that limiting belief. So now that I know that I can finish what I start, now that I have the experience of conquering that limiting belief, what is the next limiting belief that I need to conquer? All right, I can start a business. I can start a great business, and my business can grow. And people can say, no, you have ADHD, you can't focus on anything. Oh, all right, let me show you. Because I have already experienced what it is like to conquer that limiting belief. What do you know about yourself? And what do you need to conquer, to step over so that you can continue to move forward? That is what we all want to do. We all want to be able to move forward. Limiting beliefs stop us like it's jail, like it's prison. But that's not what we want. Not at all. So what is the next step? The next step is execution. Execution is the only solution. Can you say that? Execution is the only solution. Say it again. Execution is the only solution. Say it again. Execution is the only solution. I love that little saying. It like repeats in the back of my mind a lot. I put it on one of my little books. The idea is you have to act. You can't just make plans. You can't just say, I don't want to doubt myself anymore. But you have to do something. You have to do something so you can commit it to action. You guys are here and you're working out. I think it is the most awesome thing. And what I do, I say to myself, I need to go to the gym. I need to lose weight. But guess what? I don't go to the gym. I don't. That's not execution. That's not, I mean, if that was really my goal, if I really understood my why, If I really was willing to forgive myself for putting, that's a nice girdle. If I wanted to forgive myself for putting the weight on me in the first place, I need to execute. If that is something that means something to me, if my health, if I value it, I have to be able to move forward. I have to execute. It's not good enough to just put it on paper. It's not good enough for you to say, I want to do this. So that's what we do. We have our plans, we write it down, we put it on our vision board, we put it up, we write it down, and then 3 months later, 2 months later, 2 weeks later, we forgot all about it. We've made excuses. But execution is the only solution. Execution is the only solution. So, what did I spell? Wake! Wake the warrior! In order for us to wake the warrior, we have to know our why. We have to be able to absolve the things that have gone on in our past. We need to know who we are and know what we want, and then we have to execute. We must execute. Every single one of you is a warrior. You have that in you. You know that you have that. And you cannot allow your lemons. There's 10 of these bad boys. You can't allow your lemons. Because if I'm holding on to all of these negative emotions, am I able to reach for anything? I can't. We keep holding on to these things because maybe we want to get somebody back. Maybe because this person has hurt me, and so since they've hurt me, I'm going to do something back so they can be afraid. Because I don't want to be the only person living in fear. That's what we do. So we stand here with our lemons, and life passes us by. What do you want for yourself? Now, if you don't know, I'm a writer. I decided to write you all a poem. And this poem is called Warrior. I have to let my warrior, I have let my warrior sleep for quite long enough. I have soaked my searing scars and sobs and refused every single alarm for waking up. But today, I choose change. The past seems unburdened to me. There is a power on the inside surging, a desperation calling out to destiny. The chains I've felt for so long are breaking. My voice stronger than the hands clutching my face. I can feel the warmth of a new day in the distance. It's just enough light to find my place. I finally recognize the noise of war, and I am armed with all that it takes. I am coming for everything purposed for me. The waging warrior awakes. Yes. You have every single thing you need inside you to get up and move on. Don't let your past, I know you don't have ADHD. Don't let whatever your ADHD is, don't let that hold you back or shut you down or make you feel like you're not worthy or make you feel like you don't have value or feel like you don't have any place to go or feel like you can't accomplish whatever your dreams are. Don't